Everyone, welcome back to Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with another rant stroke thought of the day. Yet again, another Muppet has surfaced in the media. It's a bit like the Jaws movie. You think it's safe to go back into the water, then another shark comes and bites you on your black and white ankle. But this is actually a ghost of the past. If you can remember our past, that he did actually make a little appearance. And he's a complete and utter ball bag. He's that shit that he's not even on mainstream TV anymore. He used to be on Match of the Day, and then he got peddled. Yes, we're talking about the deflated nutsack that is Mark Lawrenson. Now, in case you don't know, Mark Lawrenson has a real dislike for us. I don't know why. I'm going to regale you with a story in a minute. I really don't understand why he has a dislike for us, given the fact he was paid for fuck all by Newcastle United and Kevin Keegan back in the day. We'll get to that in a minute. But what Mark Lawrenson has done, he's come out and he's jumped on this bandwagon that Newcastle are masters of the dark arts. You know, we're all in Slytherin, apparently, the Newcastle United squad, and Eddie Howe is Eddie Malfoy, or is that Anthony Gordon? I don't know. But everyone keeps talking about these dark arts that we do and everything else. When Arsenal do it, it's great game management, but when Newcastle United do it, it's dark arts, apparently. So this is the latest thing from the Greedy Six to try and make referees look at Newcastle and give us, you know, no joy and blow up the whistle every time we try to do something. But yeah, get yellow cards, I'll get Joe Linton suspended, all that shit. It's utter nonsense. It really is. It's part and parcel of the modern day game. Everybody does it. Manchester United did it at St James's Park. David De Gea took 9 years to take a goal kick. The Brentford players were doing the penalty thing that Trippier did at Forest the other week. So it's utter bullshit. This isn't just Newcastle United that have invented the dark arts, but apparently we've perfected it. So I'll let you know what Mark Lawrenson said about this, if you can just bear with us. I won't put his voice on. I'll send you to sleep. So he's been talking to Off the Ball. And what he said is, it is 100% planned, is what he's saying. It's very frustrating. It's difficult for the referee. All of a sudden, if they go down and stay down and the ref has no other option, he might go over and say, are you all right, to the player who's injured? And they'll respond, no, I've done this or that. That's crept into football. And for me, it takes some of the fun away from it. All of a sudden, teams now realise, and I'll tell you who the worst are, I think, is Newcastle. Oh, no surprise there, Lawrence. And you've still got an axe to grind with Newcastle United. I'm pretty certain this has something to do with Graham Souness, because they were ex-buddies, Liverpool and all that shit. Because, like I say, we didn't wrong them as a club. I'll come on to that in a second. But again, it's this bias against Newcastle these fuckwits have in the media, and they can't get over themselves. So he says here, Newcastle do it all the time now. Not all the time, mate. We actually play some good football as well. 5-1 against West Ham. Check that out. Their goalkeeper imploded. There was no dark arts there, mate. In regards to next season, not wanting to wish away this season, in regards to next season, I think the Premier League are going to have a little bit of a look at this. Maybe even say, I'll tell you what, go on, you tell us, Mark. If you can walk off, you go. And the game will go on. And I think that would quickly stop it. It is generally here all the time now. So he's purposely singled out Newcastle United there about being the worst at this in the Premier League. I don't know the statistics. I know that there is a fair bit where I think the ball is out of play more, or the game is stopped a bit more in our games. But listen, we've been nice guys for years, and where has it got us? Fucking nowhere. We've been in relegation fights. We've been relegated. We've been mid-table mediocrity. All of a sudden, we've got a little bit of shithousery in amongst the squad, and all of a sudden, it's a really bad thing for Newcastle United. Shame on you, Newcastle United. Shame on you, Kieran Trippier, and everybody else. You should be a nice guy, read your Bible, you know, not have any little shithouse antics. This has been going on for years. Manchester United, the kings of shithouses, surrounding the referees, screaming at them, abusing the referees. You know, they were doing this for years. They were praised for the passion of Roy Keane and look at the togetherness of the team. Nobody ever lambasted them for cornering a referee like we're going to chin them 11-on-1, you know, but you know, now it's Newcastle United, you know, we're awful, we're terrible, and all this kind of shit. It's just utter bollocks. It's pure bias and pure agenda driven by people in the media like Mark Lawrenson. And going back to what I said at the start. So Mark Lawrenson was brought in the Kevin Keegan years, believe it or not, as a defensive coach. That, you know, back in the years when we couldn't defend, that's right. And Mark Lawrenson even said back in 2017, you can find it if you Google it, he actually said, I was brought in to be a defensive coach and I did nothing, is what he said. I did nothing. He said, you know, I picked a five-a-side team. I pissed around in training. I even said to Kevin Keegan, I don't really think I should be doing this. I'm earning money for nothing. And he said, Keegan said, no, you're fine, crack on. And then when Keegan disappeared, Arthur Cox chinned him and said, right, now you can actually do the job you pay to do. that tells me Arthur Cox was a bit pissed off that this wanker was dossing around St James's Park or dossing around the training ground, earning money for nothing because he was one of KK's ex-Liverpool mates. So again, you go back to the modern day time, the way Souness was handled at Newcastle United. Souness makes us sound like we were dreadful for Souness and we were horrible to him and we treated him really badly. You know, that made me not want to be a manager anymore. No, the fact that you were shit, Graham, made you not want to be a manager anymore. You came to Newcastle United and tried to be this ball-busting, you know, Stone Cold Steve Austin type character after we had everybody's favourite granddad and one of the best managers of modern day football, Bobby Robson. You were no Bobby Robson, pal. That was your problem. Those players didn't respond to your training sessions, your tactics, and everything else because you were just a shit manager, right? Great player, shit manager. Happens all the time. Still happening these days. You could argue Steven Gerrard potentially might go into that category as well. But this is why Mark Lawrence has an axe to grind with Newcastle United, because Graham Souness doesn't like us. He probably wants to keep Graham Souness on side because he's probably scared of him because he's a bit of a tough man. I'm probably scared of Graham Souness too. Sorry, Graham. But, you know, that is the truth. So that's what's going on there. You know, I just think it's utter bollocks. We can see through this media bias. We can see through these hidden agendas. It's a bit like Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy on the video we did a few weeks ago, laughing their cock off when the fans suggested Eddie Howe as manager in Newcastle. And now they're backpedaling because Eddie Howe was arguably up there for manager of the year. Lawrence will suck and eat his words as well. You know, if Newcastle United turn around and start pushing for titles and getting the Champions League and playing great football, he'll be one of the first ones to come out and start praising us again. That's what these people do. They did the same thing at Manchester City. Go back and look at it. It's all out there. It's exactly the same shit that they did to City. They'll do to us as well. So utter bollocks yet again. Yet another media muppet. This is becoming a bloody series. This is. It's got more installments than Star Wars at the minute. So I'm sure there'll be another media muppet coming out of the woodwork soon. But yeah, Mark Lawrence, and the reason you're doing podcasts now, mate, to be fair, is because nobody wants you on the telly because you're a miserable looking ball bag of a human being. You bring the entire mood down. You're dull as dishwater and just crawl back under a rock from when you came, mate. Nobody gives a fuck about what you've got to say. And, you know, that bit about KK, he actually said, oh, look, great on my CV because we finished second. You know, yeah, you cost us the title, mate. You know, you were supposed to come in and help us shore up defensively. You didn't do your job. So it's okay if you're taking the club's money and laughing about it in future podcasts that you've done with people. But, you know, have some respect, mate. You know what I mean? Just Newcastle United, we're going in the right direction. Wankers like this are trying to pull us backwards. We're already going to continue. I can't wait for the summer when we sign Declan Rice and Voldemort, and then we really become masters of the dark arts. So fuck you, Lawrence, and fuck everybody else who's got a problem with the club. This is Chris signing off. Hope you enjoyed this. If you do, please consider subscribing, smash the button, come and join us. If you like the video as well, it really helps get it around YouTube and helps the channel grow. I'm pretty certain that I'll be back with one of these ranty videos soon enough because all these wankers are coming out of the woodwork and they just annoy me, to be honest with you. I just want to come on and just have a little bit of an opinion on how shit their opinion is. So if you like that, like I say, come and join us on Evermore. We've got 2 live shows, Mondays and Wednesdays. We will be on the Thursday this week with Keith Hackett. So make sure you check that out because that'll be a very interesting episode about referees and the state of referees. So until then, let's keep supporting that team of Core United. Have a great week, everyone. We'll catch you later. Cheers.